Hey, folks, and welcome to Hey Adora, your queer She-Ra podcast. I am Force Captain Meth, they, them.
And I am Princess Jenny, she, her.
And today we are discussing Pulse. This episode fucking slams. Yeah. It's awesome. Now, Pulse is season 4, episode 4. It was written by Laura Shribney, directed by Kiki Manrique, with storyboards by Diane Huh, Angela Kim, Sharon Sun, and Sam Szymanski. This episode has some excellent ass kicking.
This episode has a lot of really pivotal character shifts and plot points that are really going to move us into what the rest of the season is going to be dealing with.
And ass kicking.
And ass kicking, for sure.
And
Major ass kicking.
And also, we might have somebody coming by a little bit later to discuss both pivotal plot points and ass kicking. So,
oh my goodness, a special someone?
Stay tuned. But before we get there, we need to have some cawing in the woods, I guess. I guess that's how we're doing this.
In the woods?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Caw-caw!
Oh, right.
With the caw-caw!
Yes. In the woods, we have, first of all, there's a horde tank trucking along. That's the first thing that happens. And then we have someone watching it from the trees. Caw-cawing, as you say. Yes.
What?
That's Bo's secret signal. Very stealthy Bo.
Secret signal. Caw-caw!
Yes. And who is listening for the secret signal?
That would be, okay, so, like, Spinnerella and Adora and, the Rebellion.
And Natasa.
This
is a great episode for Spinny and Natasa.
It sure is, but before we get into that, there is a character that I think I might have identified as who I would be if I was on Etheria.
Oh, who is it?
Yeah, okay, so right in the beginning, there's this soldier, this kind of mask, gender ambiguousy masky soldier in a cowl with a vest and a cape and a bow staff, and then they have 3 eyes, and they're their third eye is in the middle of their literal third eye is open.
Is that a horde soldier?
No, it was a member of the Rebellion.
I have no idea. I totally missed this person.
Because they were literally in a frame, and I'm that person is so cool. So I want to be from the Third Eye Cowl Bowstaff Village, and I think that's where I would be from if I was in Etheria.
That is fucking rad as shit.
Yeah. Right? They were the Third Eye Mystic Wizard Bowstaff village.
I can definitely
and
see you filling that role.
Yeah, I feel that's the village that I would be from in Etheria.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to have to go back and look for that person so I can be what up? Etheria meth.
Yeah, I would like to be that, but in actuality, I would be whatever the equivalent of the weed smoking hobbits are.
I mean, listen,
probably the mushroom.
You don't actually smoke very much weed for someone who likes to talk about how much they smoke weed.
Okay, that's fair. But I feel I would probably be one of the mushroom people. Let's be real. I'd be the mushroom people with the mustaches. You're the baker.
Yep, you could.
We're afraid of everything.
I don't know, man. I could see you in either one of those roles.
Yeah, I contain multitudes.
Yes, indeed you do. But I am really into Spinnerella and Natasa in this episode. From the get-go,
I love them.
They're having so much fun with their little competitive foreplay thing.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
From the minute Bo gives his caca, my first note is that they give each other this look that's a fuck yeah, let's do this kind of look. They're ready to, kick some ass, take some names, and have a damn good time doing it.
Do you have this as your first gayest moment? Because I do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Just casually gay.
Yeah, same. I actually have when Natasa says, boom, nets, as my first gayest moment.
I mean, there's so many between them, and that totally works.
Yeah. Also, I haven't... Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
I just want to say that I have incorporated boom nets into everyday speech, and half of my friends don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, forget those half. You don't need them.
I mean, they're still my friends, but the other half that does is oh yeah, of course, course.
It's a fantastic line. Yeah, I mean, it's second the tank gets near them, they are on it.
Yeah. They are on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Spinnerella is all over that wind. She's the wind bender.
Oh, it's so sick.
She just lifts that whole tank off the ground with her wind tunnel situation.
It's so sick.
Boom.
It's so sick.
It's down. Just like
Boom.
that. She is powerful.
She is powerful. They are both crazy powerful.
They are.
We see how crazy powerful they both are in this episode.
We haven't seen a lot of them, but like Natasha is often the one who is like, when everyone else is down and like they're about to be fucked, she's the one saving them with a protective net.
Yeah.
From all being destroyed.
Yeah.
Until someone can come and save them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Love
so
it.
they're doing their thing, and then She-Ra jumps out of the bushes with a whole bunch more rebels. She yells, "Now!" And then they all jump out and circle the tank. You know, they're really feeling themselves. Clever.
They're totally feeling themselves.
Clever ambush.
Yep, they did, and you know, for all intents and purposes, great job, guys.
Right. Well, so far it seems that way.
Yeah,
literally,
it seems great.
One Horde soldier comes out of the tank screaming like a baby.
Whoa!
Natasha nets him. She says her
Boom.
tagline.
Boom, nets.
And my note there is that she says her tagline to Spinnerella in a way that you know they're going to bang later.
Totally.
So
gayest moment.
Obviously,
Boom.
that's the gayest moment. Yes.
Boom.
And so now they have captured the Horde tank and are preparing to see what's inside. Super seriously.
Yep.
And Adora says, "Everyone be ready. Our scouts reported the Horde is transporting a new prototype weapon, and they wouldn't brave the Whispering Woods unless it was something powerful." And again, they're still attributing all the Horde tech to Entrapta. So Bo jumps in and says, "If I know Entrapta, this thing is going to be big, unpredictable, and as the doors open, there's nothing inside, invisible."
Yeah, I love that. I love that Bo just runs to like, of course there's something in there. It's invisible.
Yes, of course, because, you know, that's how much credit he gives Entrapta.
Exactly. Not there's nothing there, but it's blinvisible.
Right, of course. And then just, you know, to make sure that they're not assuming anything, Adora goes inside and she swooshes her sword around to make sure that there's nothing invisible there. And she kind of shrugs like, "Whoa." Like, and then finally Bo is like, "Or it's just empty." And my sidebar here is like, I love how both sides now, other than Catra, are attributing all of the successes of the other side to someone who isn't even there.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, both sides are like, "Entrapta!"
And she's like,
"No, dude.
Hi, I'm not there. I can't do an Entrapta. You do the better Entrapta."
Would you like to come do some experiments with me in Beast Island? So much tech here.
Like,
whatever.
not there.
Yeah, like she's
Sorry,
not even
bro.
there, but
Not even there.
everyone is attributing all the best of everything to her. So anyway, so there's nothing there, but the scouts said that there was going to be something here. So what the fuck,
did
man?
they? Oh, did they?
Yes, I wonder which scout that was.
I have your scouts, eh?
Yes, indeed. So my last bullet for this scene, which is in all caps, is, "Anyway, there's no weapon. I mean, yes, there are a lot of weapons in the sense that it's an ambush."
But not the weapon.
Not the weapon.
Not the weapon. And oops, ambush. Robots approaching.
Yeah, like they were prepared
Ambush.
to find a super powerful weapon, but not one that they would be able to fight against. Like, they're prepared to find a powered down weapon.
Right, but not like get surrounded by robots.
Yeah. So, robots.
Robots everywhere. Robots everywhere, yet not a weapon to fight.
Yes. So
we have some credits.
That did not go great. Credits.
Are we going to win in the end?
I don't know, Meph. What do you think? I'm flipping it this time.
I don't know. I can never really tell with this show. I can't tell.
Yeah, it's all a matter of perspective.
It really is.
Sometimes the journey is the thing most needed.
Sometimes the winning in the end is the thing we learn along the way.
Indeed. We're not going to stop fighting.
Sure. We're never going to stop fighting.
Based on the quandary of this question.
The quandary of this question. Are we going to stop fighting? Nay.
Right. Are we going to, we're going to stop fighting Trump and DeSantis just because we're not sure if we're going to win?
Nay.
Nay, we say.
Nay, we say.
Let's go back. Let's go back to Bright Moon Base Camp.
Back to Camp Bright Moon.
Yes.
Which every time we see Camp Bright Moon, they're in the same, like, kind of cliffy canyon-y thing. Like, I feel like this is the same
tent formation.
Yeah, like near this like weird like cliff thing, like this like short cliff thing is like always there.
I'm not totally understanding why they keep showing this base camp separate from Bright Moon, other than the fact that it's like, well, it's season 4, we need some new scenery.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I'm glad that we're kind of in the same space on that one.
Yeah,
it was like maybe they just want to show off their fancy new tents.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have great tents, by the way.
Tents. I would not
They're
mind.
Like,
that's like
really
some
nice.
Serious glamping.
Yeah, seriously. Like that is really nice glamping.
Like those tents are not going to be packed up, you know, for like a casual overnight hike. Those tents are going to be there for a while.
They're going to be there for a while. Yeah.
Anyway.
And so we have Glimmer.
Back at camp. Glimmer is pissed.
Yeah, she's pissed. She's gobsmacked. She's all sorts of things.
She's distressed that, you know, she keeps sending her people on missions where they're getting hurt, you know, where it seems like they're being taken advantage of. She does not like putting her friends in danger. Everyone's looking pretty beat up. Bo says, no, they've never been better. Then a trick arrow explodes green goo all over his face, and then he revises his statement and says that they have been slightly better.
Yeah, I mean, exploding goo arrows are never really a sign of doing great.
Yeah, and I mean, aside from that, everyone is pretty beat up.
Yeah, there's dings and bruises, and there's the requisite sling and the patches, you know.
Yeah, like nobody's dying, but everyone's pretty beat up. You know, the outcome is not what they were expecting. Yeah. And Glimmer is just very frustrated because she feels like no matter where she sends her peeps, the Horde is always one step ahead of them, showing up to ruin their missions, and I'm just sitting here.
Ooh.
You know, like that's really like she's feeling not only is she feeling the FOMO, but she feels like she's putting people in danger, and then she is not able to, you know, be in solidarity with them. She feels like she is, you know, not of her own intent, but she's putting people in danger that she is not sharing herself. And that like makes her feel even worse.
Right, like that's like FOMO plus. Like that's not coming at this from like I wish I was there, but you know, because of my own reasons. It's guilt.
It's FOMO plus guilt.
It's FOMO plus guilt, which is a different kind of vibe. Yeah.
She feels again like a real heavy yoke of responsibility. These are her people.
Absolutely, and she should be fighting for them because that's how she understands being a leader to be, and as we kind of see later in the episode,
and she is brand
we're gonna
new
get that part.
To queening.
Right.
She's trying to figure out what kind of queen she's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, and Adora tries to console her. She says, it's okay. Everybody knows you're needed in Bright Moon.
Which is like maybe not the right thing to say.
Yes. But they both have such sad faces and require big hugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just the vibe right now. Bo wants to know, like, what the fuck is the plan going to be now? He would never say fuck, but like, you know, he's just confused. Swiftwind has a plan, and it's to get someone to say Swiftwind.
I even though I did not say Swiftwind as Swiftwind has asked, I'm always kind of saying it with my heart.
Indeed.
You know?
Yeah.
Did somebody say and I like that he like pokes his head and he's like, hold on, did somebody say hold on, hang up, and like rips up the tent. Like, good job, buddy.
He really needs to make an entrance every time.
Yep. And nobody said Swiftwind.
Nobody said Swiftwind, but he did do a useful thing, which is that he backtracked the path that the Horde transport was on, and so we figured out where it came from. It came from the mountains on the far side of Bright Moon.
Right.
And now Bo wants to investigate. Which is
I think that's a good idea
thing to do.
I think so, yeah.
And now we have our buddy General Juliet pointing out that a small team would probably be best for this. Get in and out quickly before the Horde even knows you're there. Don't make, you know, a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. And I would tend to agree with that.
I agree with that as well, though maybe Swiftwind not making a lot of noise is kind of, you know, antithetical to...
Yeah, Swiftwind is not the best person for this. Just like in the world of Legend of Korra, Milo is not your guy for a stealth mission because his farts are just too much of a wild card.
It's true.
And, Swift Wind's too majestic to go
It's
undercover.
too majestic. Yeah, exactly.
And I have a bullet here, even though it doesn't come up until later. I was thinking about it here, about Double Trouble being embedded here as Flutterina. But once Double Trouble has snuck in to this group, if Flutterina's not in the room, Double Trouble could be masquerading as anyone at any time.
Right.
Like, Double Trouble could be General Juliet right now.
They aren't?
Although at the end of this scene, it turns out that Flutterina was spying at the door.
That's right. They aren't in the scene,
They're not General Juliet right now, although they do impersonate her later. But I was thinking about it during this scene. I was like, Double Trouble could literally be anyone at any time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always have to commit to being only Flutterina.
Right.
That's correct. Part of what makes them such a good spy.
Yes. Yes.
So, no one knows if Double Trouble's in the room ever.
Ooh, that's creepy.
We might not even know.
We don't know.
Most
we do,
of the time,
though.
I think they go out of their way to try to show us when it's Double Trouble.
Right.
But we might not always know. Just a thought.
Jenny, I don't know if they do that to us.
No, they probably wouldn't, but it's fun for headcanon.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I do like that.
Yeah. Anyway, Glimmer hates to send her buddies back out there.
Yep.
Basically, after you just got your asses kicked is the unsaid part of that sentence.
Right. And,
but
Adora's like, yeah, they're totally up for it. And
especially Natasha.
Oh my God.
Which is
ridiculous.
Another gayest moment.
I love I also have this as gayest moment.
Of course you do.
And because I love competitive wives.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cute. Like, obviously Spinnerella thinks it's cute.
Yeah.
It's part of Natasha's charm. Like, I don't think Spinnerella really is competitive. I just think she likes how it makes Natasha, so she gets into it because of that.
I think she is too. I definitely think they both are, but I think that they both are in a different way. I think Natasha is more like a hard, I'm more competitive than you, and Spinnerella's like, okay, dear, you definitely are, but is internally competitive. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a hard, soft, competitive thing. I think they're the yin and yang of competitive.
Yeah, it could be. I just think that
they're complementary competitive wives, and I'm fucking here for it.
Spinnerella just enjoys it because it makes Natasha so crazy.
Yeah,
I think her own,
I do love that.
Yeah,
though.
I just think that on her own, Spinnerella would not be competitive.
I don't know. I think she would find other ways to compete. Are you competitive?
Not intrinsically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's in my nature to be competitive, but if someone really wants to challenge me on something that I feel super confident about, I will dig in.
Yeah.
But, I've never been big on sports or, things where score is kept, again,
right.
with my hippie independent schooling, we had grades, but we didn't have rankings or GPAs because they didn't want to encourage us to feel like we were in competition with each other. You can all be equally awesome.
Aww,
if you're all awesome, you can be awesome together.
Right, but if you're playing a board game, you're not
I'm not into board games. I'm not really into games like that.
Okay.
I feel like I'm like Spinnerella. I am not competitive on my own. I really don't care who wins in general. It doesn't, because to me, it doesn't really signify anything. It's not a real measure of talent or worth. But if someone else really is digging in and wants to be competitive and they happen to tap into something that I know I'm really good at or that I feel really confident about or I feel strongly about, then they can bring it out of me. And I feel like that's what's happening with these two. Spinnerella on her own doesn't care about competitive stuff. Natasha on her own really does.
Right. You'll go to the mat for it. You'll be like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll do this. Let's throw down.
On the right issue. If someone says that they make the best, baked goods, and I taste your baked goods, and I'm like, dude, your baked goods are not that great. I make really good baked goods.
This is true.
I'll throw down on that.
This is true. Dear listeners, Jenny can cook and bake like a motherfucker. This is no lie.
It is true.
This is no lie. So,
but if you come up to me and say, I bet I can get the ball in the hoop more times than you, I'll be like, yeah, you probably can, and I don't care.
Yeah, that's true, because you called it "but get the ball in the hoop."
Yeah, and I don't
like,
care about things like that. It's so arbitrary.
Yeah, I got you.
So I feel like maybe I'm projecting on Spinnerella. It's entirely possible. But so what
that's
actually happens between them here? Do you want to describe this little scene, this adorable competitive scene?
Oh, no, please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens here is basically everybody's ready to go back out, especially Natasha, even though she's kind of hurt. And so Spinnerella's like, dear, your arm, like, you're hurt. Don't be a dumbass, basically, is the undertone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Natasha's like, oh, nice try. Like, yeah, Spinnerella doesn't want me to go back out because she refuses to accept that I'm winning, basically.
Yeah,
She's
I
like,
love that.
I busted 2 more bots than she did, so I'm winning. And Spinnerella says, there's nothing to win. Like, she's like, oh, come on. Like, you dumbass, but I love you.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's so cute.
I love that.
It's
absolutely.
Very cute, gayest moment.
Absolutely.
Like, my dumbass competitive wife. What will I do with her?
I know. Exactly. My dumbass wife. I love her. And they're such good role models for our babies.
They are.
Our little baby gays.
They are.
They're such good lesbian aunties.
They are the best lesbian aunties. Aww. They know how to keep it fresh and have a good time. At the end of the day, they know what really matters. Like, they don't put anything above their relationship. Nope, they don't. Even their competition. Right. So we think it's cute, but Adora does not think it's that cute and suggests that maybe they should move this convo to the war room.
Right. It's like, okay, guys, seriously.
Yeah.
We need to do some fighting.
This is the point in my notes where I was like, yeah, why are they just hanging out in all these tents? But we already discussed that.
Right.
New season, new scenery.
So they're in the war room now.
Yeah, so that's when they walk out and Glimmer bumps into Flutterina like the second she walks out of the tent. So that's when I was like, okay, I guess Double Trouble wasn't impersonating anyone in that room because here's Flutterina, just listening at the door. And so Flutterina, again, slowly sowing the seeds of discontent.
Wait.
Oh, you guys are going on a mission? Can I come?
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So can Flutterina turn into Swiftwind?
I would assume that Double Trouble could turn into anyone.
Or, excuse me, Double Trouble. Yeah. But we've only seen Double Trouble turn into bipeds.
That's true, but I mean, I wouldn't automatically assume that Double Trouble would be limited to only being able to turn into bipeds. I would assume that Double Trouble could turn... We've seen Double Trouble turn into people who are much smaller than they are.
Sure,
but is much smaller than Double Trouble. So I would assume that Double Trouble... I mean, 4 appendages are 4 appendages.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Flutterina, that Double Trouble could turn into Swiftwind if they wanted to.
Flutterina does have wings.
Yeah.
Which okay.
But that makes sense. I'm not backing that up with any hard data, obviously.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, like, can they like turn into like Flutterina with functioning wings, and then can they turn into Swiftwind with functioning wings? And
we don't have any conclusive proof that Flutterina's wings are functioning.
That's true.
They could just be decorative. Vestigial, as it were.
Oh, I love vestigial wings.
Right?
Kind of like Glimmers. Well, the Glimmers are more like little tattoos.
Really have wings. Yeah,
she's got like little wing tattoos.
Well, they could be tattoos, or they could just be. I don't know, man. Yeah.
I don't know. Because it's like
I always assume, this is my personal headcanon, that Glimmer, being half immortal, that one day, perhaps 100 years from now, Glimmer's little wing tattoos will eventually sprout out of her back and become actual wings.
Yeah, no, same. I also subscribe to this headcanon of yours. Cool. Yeah, no, it makes sense. They're like little winglet, tattoo things. Yeah.
Like, eventually she will have fully fledged wings that will function.
Right.
But, and her lifespan, she's not immortal, but she's going to have like a wicked long life. Maybe she'll live to be like 1,000 or something.
Right.
Who knows? Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Anyway, that was just something I was thinking about. So,
sort of digs into Glimmer's feelings of guilt and FOMO confusion by, getting excited about the mission. Oh, can I come? You guys are going. Can I come along? And Glimmer's like, oh, not this time. And not all of us are going. Looking even more downtrodden than before.
And then Flutterina, of course. Who's not Double Trouble.
Pretty crafty.
Yep, picks up on this, of course.
Yes. Crafty. little
Yeah.
bubbly pink princess.
Rebel soldier Flutterina's ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Big salute.
Big salute.
So off they go. So now our next scene I have as Woods Night. A hooded Flutterina scampers away, looking wicked suspicious.
Wicked suspicious. Agreed.
Yes.
Wicked suspicious.
She approaches a sheltered cove of trees, but just as she's about to enter, Catra drops down.
Love it. I love
sinister,
this, like,
but don't forget, kids, they're on the same side.
I love this, like, sneaky little, like, they're spies moment. It's great.
Yeah, like the little misdirect, like, oh no, oh wait, no, it's okay, they're on the same side.
It's okay. Their little, like, spy meeting of spies. You're expecting them to, like, have their own special code words, like, is the chicken blue? Only on the full moon, you know? and then they pass their little microfiche or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. They are having so much fun together in this episode. I mean, no one's having more fun than Double Trouble. But
no one ever has more fun than Double Trouble is always having fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it means to be a chaotic neutral.
Yeah, you're like, mischief. Oh, yay.
Yeah.
I don't, like, it's
really
great.
care what happens. I'm just here to have fun.
I'm just here to have fun,
Yeah,
sowing
and-
seeds and whatnot.
Yeah, Double Trouble does help Catra, particularly in parts of this episode, have some levity that she would otherwise not have at all.
And has not had in a really long time.
Yes.
So that's really nice.
Yeah,
We do love Double Trouble for that.
We do love that. Catra says, I can't get over how ridiculous you look, Flutterina.
I know, it's great. It's great. It's the the response to this is like, what sort of character would the princesses trust? Something tooth-achingly cute and pink. And I love that.
Yes. And then I love this little exchange they have because Double Trouble is really getting into stride at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came to me, Flutterina, a role for the ages. And like, before they can even finish that sentence, like they're really, getting into their stride. Catra's like, yeah, great, whatever.
Yeah.
I do not care.
Yep. Just hand wave.
Yeah.
Like,
what's the news?
Yeah.
And so I have this as gayest moment.
Oh, yeah. Double Trouble. Okay. I want to hear this because I have a similar.
Okay.
Let's hear it. Okay.
Okay. So I have this as a gayest moment because they are both just so wholeheartedly embodying and exuding the particular kind of queer archetype that they both are.
Yes.
Like, on the one hand, we have angry revenge lesbian.
Uh-huh.
And on the other hand, we have chaotic neutral theater queer happily sewing drama.
Yes, I have that as well.
I'm so glad
I literally have that.
You
yes,
literally have that?
Well, not the exact wording, but I'm like,
Yes.
mean lesbian and drama queen.
Yes. Like, they're just both they're both spinning their queer wheels.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they're doing this, like, parallel play kind of thing, almost.
Yeah. And you know what? We love queer unity here on Heodora.
We sure do.
So, we love to see when queers play nice together.
Yes. And it works so well in a
Always
very
does.
particular way.
Yep.
That is just so fucking gay.
Yep, we love it. It's so fucking gay. Like, if you want to know, like, other ways that the show is so fucking gay, this is, like, number, like, 6,200. Not only is everything gay, but, like, this particular kind of, like, interaction between,
these two buddies.
Yeah, like, these two are buddies. And in, like, gay spaces, these two are also buddies.
Yeah,
and if you're having a show
like
that
archetype.
Yeah, and if you're having a show that is written by, like, non-queer people, they'll maybe overlook the fact that these two would be buddies. But when queer people write a show, they know that these two are buddies.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we made a gay show for gays, and here you go. Here are your two friends.
Here are two of an infinite number of gay flavors.
Yep, and here you go. And you know they're friends because you're sitting next to them on the couch watching this with them.
Yes, exactly.
So,
there you go. Exactly. Full circle. It's beautiful.
Like, pass the popcorn, drama queen, mean lesbian is on the other side of you. Like,
being like, fuck you, I don't do that. Oh, well.
I don't do that. Whatever. Oh, she's such a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, love them. Thank you. The show's so gay. I love it.
Honey, pass the popcorn.
Yeah. Exactly. Love it. So gay.
Oh. Anyway, so they walk together into the little hidden horde outpost.
In this like more suggestive caves, more curtains. Love this show.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Love this show.
It's not subtle.
Not subtle. This show is not subtle.
And Double Trouble gives us some exposition on what we already saw. Your team did quite a number on the rebels. They came limping back in, so despondent, such emotion. Oh, it was breathtaking.
Drama queen. Love it.
Love to see it.
Love to see it.
So Double Trouble is in a super good mood, but Catra is not that impressed because the rebels still got away. She wants some immediate results.
Which is interesting because Catra understands a long game.
Normally she does.
But now she's kind of like, she's champing at the bit. She's a little itchy.
Yeah. So. Right now she's not in the best headspace. Double Trouble has to remind her that espionage is a long game, and they call her Kitten.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also love. Double Trouble's special nickname for Catra is Kitten.
I love that. There was a friend of mine in college, close friend, totally platonic. My nickname for her was Kitten.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and clearly this is totally platonic and it still works.
Yeah, it's great.
And so Double Trouble tries to cheer Catra up a bunch of ways. Starts out by impersonating angry Glimmer.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So
I love
fun.
this. I love this string of impersonations because they're so goofy.
Angry Sparkle growl.
Love it.
And Catra has no reaction to that and just asks about She-Ra, surprising no one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when Double Trouble says, "So serious. Remember, this is supposed to be fun."
And Catra's, angry lesbian. This is supposed to be war.
And Double Trouble says, "No reason it can't be both."
Love it. Love it.
Catra's
Love for the game.
response to that is an angry grunt and an ear flick.
I know. It's great.
Just like,
this is like
not
angry.
subtle.
Nope. Your angry lesbian friend once again.
Yep. So, okay, Double Trouble pouts. All business, no fun. Which is, we just love to see it.
We do love to see it.
They answer her questions, exposition. She-Ra's putting together a team to track down Hordak's new weapon. And Catra finally has a tone shift here. She says She-Ra's not going to find anything. And all of a sudden she gets all smug and cocky. But they'll all see the weapon when the time comes.
Ooh.
And she walks out. And then Double Trouble is just so titillated, full of gay theater excitement.
I know.
Foreshadowing. Love this.
Love it. I love that scene. I love the two of them together.
I love the two of them together, too.
I love the two of them together. And
I love when the show plays with just being ridiculously meta.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's have the characters discuss
and
what
then
the scene is doing.
Yeah, and that total lampshade hanging of foreshadowing, bonk, bonk. That's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, and actually this is definitely too small to be considered a Professor Smart Brain. I think this is more of let's define our terms kind of moment.
Sure.
Because we've never actually defined what is metatextuality.
Oh,
even though
let's do
bring it up kind of a lot.
We kind of do, but we've never actually defined it. You're right.
Plenty of people either know what it means or can infer based on context clues because it's not, it's not such a crazy concept. But I think that we should at least define it.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So on a most basic level, what we mean when we say something is meta is short for metatextual, we are saying that the text is being self-referential or self-aware. A more technical definition would be metatextuality is a form of intertextual discourse in which one text makes critical commentary on itself or another text. So in this instance, we have Double Trouble announcing that Catra's line is foreshadowing.
Right.
That is meta because you literally have a character in the story telling us about the progression of the story.
Right.
And that's why jokes are funny.
And that is why jokes are funny. Yes,
right?
exactly.
So there's plenty of examples. In the Scream movies, the characters are aware that they're living through a horror movie trope. Or
also the Scream movies themselves, the whole ass movie.
A movie that takes place on a movie set. A movie about a movie, a play about a play. All, those are all examples of things that are meta. And they're an infinite number of examples, I'm sure, that people could come up with, but that's, it's a fairly basic concept, but I just thought that we could pause for a moment and actually say what we mean.
Love it. Thank you, Jenny.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too, my dude.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to Bright Moon?
Let's move on to Bright Moon, where Glimmer's having a grand old time.
Oh, yeah.
She's bouncing about. She's breaking shit. She
just loves... Oh, you skipped ahead a little bit.
Oh, I'm just... okay.
Because before that, she has to watch the gang leave for their mission.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And she's very, very melancholy.
Yes.
Watching her people leave again on a mission that she has to send them on. And she is, again, not sure it's going to be successful, not sure her friends are going to be okay. And then after they leave, she kind of looks around, makes sure she's alone, and then take it away, Meph.
Oh, and then she's like, bamfing everywhere. She's blowing off steam, right?
Yes,
like she's
having
blowing
some
off
fun
steam.
with her powers.
She's getting in her body and letting her stress out, like physically. Yeah. She's also like having fun with it. She's breaking stuff. She's bamfing about, laughing, just having a grand old time, breaking shit.
Similar to, in a one-person way, what we saw her doing with her mom in the Alternative Universe episode. We saw her and Angela bamfing around the garden together. This is sort of like a one-person version of that.
Yes, I noticed that as well.
Just sort of romping around, like you said, getting into her body, letting off steam.
Only she breaks more stuff in this, though.
Yes. So. But it's a little creepy because someone is actually watching. She's not as alone as she thought she was.
No, we have Shadow Weaver being creepy Shadow Weaver.
Of course.
Who is impressed with this outpouring of physical power, it's because that's what fucking Shadow Weaver does, right?
Like, oh, you think someone's magical power is impressive? What a shock.
What a shock. Oh.
Yes, don't mind her. She's just tending her creepy dark magic garden.
Okay, but to be real, though, witch gardens are the shit, though.
Of course.
Like, I got a witch garden.
At all.
It's the shit.
Yeah.
Like, but...
it's a little heavy-handed as a metaphor.
Yeah. I know.
It's not actually surprising, as the way everyone acts surprised when they see Shadow Weaver gardening.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
it doesn't seem like something that an evil person would do.
Right, but she's a witch. Yeah. Like, this is what witches do. Witches have gardens. Also, this is what she does. She cultivates.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's her whole thing, right?
Yes. So, and Lorraine Toussaint just absolutely destroys this line. It's such a simple line. When Glimmer's like, oh, you're gardening? Shadow Weaver says, one must keep oneself occupied.
That's so good.
And I cannot do it justice the way Lorraine Toussaint does it. It's just that one tiny line, but she just fills you with dread. You're like, oh my God, what are you going to do? You're so scary.
she fucking destroys it. It's awesome.
So Glimmer seems a little shook, even before Shadow Weaver brings up Micah. Specifically, she flatters Glimmer as the fact that you're Micah's daughter, he was so powerful. And Glimmer takes it the wrong way.
Right.
She's like, I get it. I'm the daughter of an angelic being and a powerful sorcerer, and I'll never be as good as either of them.
Right. And
of course, Shadow Weaver turns it around. In this very tantalizing way. Oh, yep, and that's true. You'll be better. Gasp.
Yeah. Some more classic narcissist techniques too here, right? That combines you will be better and I will make you better. Right.
So they have this ominous conversation set to the oh so subtle backdrop of Shadow Weaver pruning her dark garden.
Literally pruning dark roses, right?
Right. It's not fucking subtle.
It's not subtle.
Right. While telling Glimmer things like, I've been watching you. All of your power is wasted if you don't use it. You must decide for yourself what kind of queen you're going to be. As she puts a rose behind Glimmer's ear.
Oh, and she does the Shadow Weaver face touch of manipulation.
Yeah, so creepy. But, Glimmer does not respond to that type of heavy-handed manipulation because she recognizes it.
Right.
She grabs that rose that Shadow Weaver just basically planted. It's like, you can't plant your shit on me. I am not your garden.
Right.
She grabs the rose, she crushes it, and she says, and I've decided I'm a queen who doesn't take advice from prisoners. And she poops away.
I love that.
So we love this for Glimmer.
We love this for
Good
Glimmer.
job, Glimmer. Unfortunately,
Glimmer.
it doesn't last, but in this moment, it's good.
You're a boss.
Yes.
So now we are back to the hunt.
Yes, back on the mission with our buddies who are all flying on Swifty's back past some mountains.
Yep.
Or actually, Bo and Adora are flying on Swifty's back because Spinny and Atassa have their own method of travel.
I know.
By wind bending or tornado bending.
I love this. Yeah. Aw, I love that.
It's very cute.
It is.
It's very cute.
But not air bending.
No.
It's like
it's
like
bending.
it's wind bending. It's different.
Yeah, it's
subtle difference, but it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only for like major tornado uses.
Right.
I don't think she can just sort of float around like Aang.
Yeah, and there's the great little, this is also kind of a meta joke. Just for the record, I'm being way quieter than you.
Oh my God.
I love the joke of somebody talking saying they're quieter than you.
Yes,
like,
yes. Yeah, and I have a sub bullet there saying, honestly, at this point, I really think that this level of competitiveness is just how Natasha gets in the mood for sexy times.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, at this point, it's like, they're just
racking up points so they can look at the board later while they fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, points we have on the board.
It's like, well, in downtimes they gay wrestle, but since they're actually, beating up robots, they just have to rack up points.
Right,
the two of them. So.
Speaking of robots,
there's more robots. It's an ambush.
Times for another ambush.
Times for another robots ambush, and this is a
different kind of one.
This is a different kind of one. This one is big.
First, it just drills itself into the ground and does nothing.
And it does nothing. So I have a mini Professor Smartbrain moment here. So this is another kind of messy foray into the sciences. So this is my Professor Smartbrain moment on a phage.
I don't know what that is.
Why? That's what I'm going to tell you. So this is a mini Professor Smartbrain moment because I'm going to do a really high level because as we may have known from my other Professor Smartbrain moments, I am not a scientist.
What?
I know! And I'm not a virologist, so we're not going to get into... the deeps, the big deep depths on this one. But this looks like a phage or bacteriophage, which is a type of virus that infects bacteria.
Oh. So you're saying the drill bot looks like one of them?
The drill bot looks like that.
Okay.
So it's a type of virus that infects and replicates within a bacteria. So what it does is it actually it looks like that. It has like kind of the head and then like the little like legs like that. And what it does
and does it have like a spike in the bottom?
It spikes, and what it does is it just goes clonk, and it puts its little drill in, and then it injects RNA into a bacteria.
Interesting.
And it eats it.
Wow.
Hence the phage.
That's wild.
So that is my very mini Professor Smartbrain moment on bacteriophages or just phages.
Wow. I wonder if that was in any way an inspiration for the visual design of those bots, or if it's just a coincidence.
It probably is. I mean, it's a pretty ubiquitous kind of design thing, which let's make something look kind of vaguely bacterial or viral. That is kind of one that it looks like,
Yeah.
So there we go.
Wild.
Mini Professor Smartbrain moment. Phage.
Right. That is some juicy knowledge.
Thank you.
Anyway, our buddies are pretty confused when this bot just drills itself into the ground and then does nothing.
But it doesn't do nothing.
Adora's like, is this a new weapon? And Swiftwind says it's not very big or a movie.
It's that all there is. And then,
so Bo does something that probably was not the smartest thing to do and gets super close to it to examine it as it massively explodes.
Yep.
Or
and then
surges.
It's or pulses.
Some pulses. It's exactly. It's aha.
And then we have a sonic boom, and then we kind of have we have the sound barrier breaking type of thing.
And Natasha again tries to protect them from the worst of this blast with a net.
But Bo
is way too close.
Bo is way too close.
And they do a really good job representing the effects of this blast. There's, this overwhelming kind of reverb. Everything goes black, and then we are with Adora with like a POV shot as she's waking up. We show, everything's kind of fuzzy as she wakes up. Everything is sort of too bright and out of focus, and sound is distorted, kind of like underwater. Like you really have a strong sense of coming back to consciousness after an overwhelming blast.
Yeah, it was done really, really well.
They do a really good job with that.
Yeah, the sound design in this part is done particularly well.
Yes, it's masterful.
Yeah.
And then as the effects of that wear off, we see that she's lying on her back on the forest floor, surrounded by destroyed trees, and there's bits of burning ash from the wreckage drifting through the air like snow. Like, they really paint the scene here.
It's really
what a powerful
fucked.
blast this was.
Yeah, and Bo is...
And she sits up, and she sees Bo lying unconscious by the blast site.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great.
This is very bad, and so we need our big healing moment.
Yeah.
We have our big healing moment.
Yep. I don't really understand why she waited until they got back to Bright Moon to do the healing.
Yeah, I don't get that either, but
he's not dead.
He's not dead, but he's also in bad shape.
Yeah.
So Adora
Even
does
the healing was not 100%.
Yeah, so Adora does the big healing, the big She-Ra healing thing.
Back at Bright Moon, this is a new
back
scene.
Back at Bright Moon,
yes.
Yeah. So then they, and then we have the music, which
she pulls out the Sword of Protection and does her Avatar healing thing.
Which she's
getting really good at. She has a lot more control now.
And it's awesome, but like Bo's jacked up to the point where like it saved his life, but that's pretty much where he's at.
Needs to rest.
Yeah.
And there's a cute moment where he wakes up and says very croakily, "Did we win?" And Glimmer just bursts into tears and hugs him, probably too tight, but she's just so relieved. Yeah. And then as she's hugging him and crying, he says, "I feel like we didn't win."
I know.
So that's cute.
Oh. Glimmer is like, why isn't he okay? Like, we're all like, yeah, we get it. Why isn't he okay? Yeah, but also, like, that's the type of reaction you're, like, when you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, good, they're awake. Why aren't they okay? Like, after like a car crash or something.
As okay as the healing can make him.
Right.
You know, like, she can heal, but, like, she's not a god.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a miracle. Well, it's like...
It's not a... Yeah.
It's saving his life, but he still needs to rest.
And
so this is when General Double Trouble inserts some more mischief into this situation, because Glimmer in this moment says, I can't keep sending my friends into ambushes. How does the Horde know our every move? And so General Juliet, or so we think, suggests that maybe they're tracking She-Ra. Which that's when the suggestion comes in. And Glimmer gloms onto that right away, which I don't even think makes sense, because like if they were tracking She-Ra, like why would that suddenly be a thing? Like She-Ra's been with them since the beginning. So but Glimmer gloms onto that and she says, oh well, that would explain how they always know where you are. Right. And they go through the rest of the episode, and for several episodes following, I believe, assuming that that's what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think it's like after the end of that scene, we see Double Trouble's eyes flash as Juliet walks away. So we know that that was Double Trouble suggesting that.
Yep.
But I don't understand why everyone else goes along with that suggestion so easily.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, Adora's easy to like... goes along with it really easily.
Would assume
sure,
guilt.
But like Glimmer going along with it pretty. I don't know.
But we have to accept it.
Yeah,
for the sake of the plot,
right? So, and
of course, Adora would rather risk her own safety than anyone else's.
Yeah, and
so
you
she
know,
announces that she's going to go back and destroy the bot rather than risk anyone else, conveniently in front of our friend, who may or may not be General Juliet.
ooh,
It's not.
it's what?
Yes.
No.
Because that's the last thing we see at the end of that scene is General Juliet leaving the room, flashing those green eyes that we know so well.
Yeah, and I think another thing that I would really want to point out before we kind of jump from the scene is that we have Adora doing her Adora thing, saying it's my fault, and we have Glimmer saying no, this is Catra's fault, and so we know that Glimmer is out for blood, and Glimmer's out to kick some Catra ass, not some Horde ass, but some Catra ass.
That's a very good point,
and that's gonna be so satisfying.
Yep,
I love when that happens.
Yep, definitely.
So, yeah. So we got some fun coming up.
Definitely a good point. Let's mosey on back to that Horde outpost.
Let's do that. Oh wait, but why is Bo talking to Catra? What? Catra, I knew you were behind this.
Yeah, my first note here is that Double Trouble is having so much fun being Bo now, just living their best chaotic neutral theater queer life.
I love this. It got me the abs, the most vulnerable part of the body I refuse to cover because I don't own real shirts.
Yep, they're having the time of their life.
And I'm assuming they're in Flutterina's Flutterina's room.
Flutterina's tent. That's the only place that Double Trouble could have the privacy.
And
to
Flutterina's tent has a poster of She-Ra.
I mean, of course.
I love that.
Of course. It has to be believable as, like, Flutterina's tent. Because other people could come in there.
Sure, but I love that there's just, like, a poster of She-Ra there. It just tickled my fancy.
Yeah, I feel like Double Trouble is also in there, like, as a stage manager being like, okay, this is the set of Flutterina's room. How are we going to do the set decor of Flutterina's room?
To make it
exactly. The best Flutterina's room set that it could be.
How are we going to dress this, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. When I was in 9th grade and I was the stage manager for West Side Story for our spring musical, and our music teacher took me to get, props and stage setting stuff. And one of the things I got was this old-timey Winston cigarette poster. And I was so proud. I was like, this is super vintage. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so I hung it up. And then our college guidance counselor, who was wicked old, and was very sweet, gay man who I had a good relationship with. But like the night before opening night, he came up to me and said, I hate to tell you this, but West Side Story came out in 1958, and Winston cigarettes didn't come out until 1959. And I just looked at him and I was like, you know what? If anyone else notices that, I'll buy them a slushie.
Wow.
I was like, I really don't think anyone else is going to notice that.
Damn. It wasn't like, oh, you can't have cigarettes. It was like you were a year off.
Yeah, I was like, this is an anachronism.
An anachronism by a year.
Yeah.
Oh, it can't even be like Winston cigarettes are coming either. It was just
the poster was what it was.
Damn. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, no.
I fucking love that.
Yeah, I was tickled and also annoyed. I was like, I'm sorry, but no.
You're like, no, fuck that. But also, that's awesome.
Yeah. But the other reason I probably remember that moment so vividly is because the girl I had a huge crush on was there when I had this exchange. And when I gave my salty little comeback, when I was like, well, if anyone else notices that, I'll buy them a slushie, she laughed. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm funny and smart.
I'm funny, yeah, but girls like me. I'm cool.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Set design is a thing.
Set design.
Yes.
Love it.
Double Trouble has it all sewed up.
Oh, yeah. Girl, get it.
Yes. Doing hilarious takes
I love this.
all of the rebellion characters.
Yep.
And then, of course, it descends into just having the characters, like, running across the screen, calling each other's names. And then first it's Bo yelling Glimmer and Glimmer yelling Bo. And then She-Ra just jumps in and goes, She-Ra!
I love that. And of course, Catra says the thing that we all say to Netflix.
Yes.
Show me She-Ra again.
And so finally Catra is having a good time, like a fully good time and enjoying herself.
And Double Trouble's like, there it is. And I'm like, oh, And we all know when the drama queen gets the mean lesbian to smile and everyone in the room goes, oh.
Yes, and all is right with the universe.
And all is right with the queer universe.
For a moment. But yeah, talk about
For
meta.
a moment. I know.
Show me She-Ra again.
Show me She-Ra again. Yeah, right?
You know, the moment that launched 1,000 memes.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So obviously that's the gayest moment.
Mm-hmm.
That we all love.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, we all love seeing Catra genuinely having fun for a
do.
moment. And so does Double Trouble.
Yeah.
You know? But Catra also is like a pouty child who stops having fun the second anyone calls attention to the fact that she's having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as soon as Double Trouble's like, oh, there it is, that pisses her off. And she's like, oh,
no. I don't have fun.
Yes. But then Double Trouble cheers her up again by telling her that she was going back out to destroy the bot that hurt her friend. So now they have another chance to kick her ass.
Yay!
So, more gay banter.
Yay, I love that.
So, yeah, yes.
And I love this. I knew there was a reason I liked you. And like, oh, Double Trouble, there's a reason I like you. And that's because you also like to see Catra happy.
Yeah.
I like to see Catra happy.
I mean, I agree. We're all on board the happy Catra train.
We just like to see Catra happy.
We do.
It's true.
Unfortunately, now we have to go back to the Dark Garden with Shadow Weaver.
Okay, fine. So Shadow Weaver is humming along in her garden, pruning, clipping, making her things for her evil spells and teas and whatnot.
Yes.
And Glimmer comes in and is like,
and she
okay.
dismisses the guards so she can have alone time with evil mom.
I don't like this.
No.
I don't like it, Jenny. I don't like it.
I don't either. But
I don't like it.
Glimmer has to test her strength and make some moves.
She does.
I mean, I don't like it, but I understand.
Sure, me too.
Glimmer is working as hard as she possibly can to be the boss right now.
Yeah.
She says, she starts out saying, I need, and then she immediately is back. She's like, no, back that up. The queen demands your help.
Yep. And Shadow Weaver knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm. Of course she does.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the way Shadow Weaver responds to Glimmer when she says, I see, it sounds to me like she's talking to a toddler who just learned their ABCs.
Uh-huh.
She's like,
I know.
You know?
I know. It's like, or it's like the, yes, now you've come back. Not the crawling back type of I see, but the like, yes, I knew you would be here.
Yes. Like she knew.
And, right?
Of course.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
It's just, it's gross, whatever.
Like she just laid a little trail of Reese's Pieces and now you have followed them as she knew that you would, because who would not follow a delicious trail of Reese's Pieces?
I mean, I can't because I'm allergic to peanut butter,
right.
But I did love them.
Unless you're allergic.
I did love them when I could.
Yes.
They are delicious.
Yes. But, she knew this would happen. Here we are. And again, as we're watching the extremely subtle visual metaphor of Shadow Weaver pruning her evil garden and chopping the heads off flowers, what are you trying to say, writers?
I know, right?
Yeah.
But... So Glimmer comes in and, once again, we're on a Catra revenge tip right now. We're like, Catra, she's been 2 steps ahead of us the whole time. Show me to think like she does so I can figure out the next move.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. She just wants Shadow Weaver to help her get in Catra's head so they can finally get one up on the Horde.
So who knows how to get in Catra's head more than Shadow Weaver besides, Adora? But
Yeah. But honestly, Adora is the one who is always being manipulated by Catra. So I feel like Shadow Weaver is better than Adora at
right, because Glimmer's not trying
Catra.
to Glimmer's not trying to be pals with Catra.
She's not trying to win Catra's love.
She's trying to beat the crap out of Catra or capture Catra or,
Yeah, she's trying to
defeat
do military
Catra.
Strategy.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But Shadow Weaver rejects Glimmer's basic premise here. She says, you don't need to think like Catra. She wants Glimmer to tap into her own big powers.
Right.
With Shadow Weaver as her mentor, of course.
Right. And of course, we're doing Shadow Weaver's favorite thing right now, which is turning her mentees against each other and turning people against Catra.
Right.
Which are like her two favorite things to do.
Yeah, of course. This is her jam. And so Glimmer is hypothetically willing to entertain the suggestion in the sense that she's curious about herself and her powers.
Sure.
And Shadow Weaver is the only one who can answer her questions about this stuff right now.
Sure.
And so she just wants to know, like, what would that look like?
Just asking questions, just trying to figure that out.
It's natural for her to have this curiosity.
Absolutely. So
Shadow Weaver says, magic, of course.
You mean magic?
I do, meth. I do. But I think that Shadow Weaver might secretly mean dark magic.
You're right. Shadow Weaver does mean that.
But Glimmer, of course, does not mean that.
No.
So Shadow Weaver suggests a locator spell, which seems to be like a basic something that every young sorcerer should know. And she starts grabbing some necessary bits from the plants around the garden.
Sure.
And Glimmer, seeming shocked and outraged, says, "You've been growing magical plants this whole time?" And then there's a hard beat and a major tone shift to suddenly she begrudgingly curious, what do these do? And it's a very funny moment.
It's like, those are daisies.
Yeah.
I find them cheerful.
But I just find that such a funny moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you've been doing this whole time. What do these do? Like, I'm mad. Well, I guess I'm not that mad because now I want to know.
Also, like, any plant is a magical plant, but like, we're not even going to get into that shit.
Right, but she's just so thirsty for this knowledge.
Right,
she's never been trained in her sorcerer half.
Right,
She's never been able to ask her dad about her magical powers. Mm-hmm. And this is someone who really knows that side of her, knew her dad. And, whether or not she's a trustworthy person has this information that Glimmer really wants.
Right.
About her, about herself.
About herself. Exactly.
So after we have this little funny beat about the daisies, Glimmer makes a funny face about, like, don't fuck with me about these fucking daisies. But she does give her consent to do this work. And she has to give her consent because the final ingredient in this spell has to be added by her, the spellcaster.
Okay, but what is that?
It's just some little magical liquid in a little magical vial.
Like fairy dust or some shit? Like, I have no fucking idea. Yeah, all right, cool. It's fairy dust.
It doesn't seem to be anything sinister.
Okay.
It's some glowing stuff. Shadow Weaver holds it out to her, and Glimmer takes it, and that is consent, and she pours it in, and the shit starts to glow.
Yeah.
And Glimmer is awed. Right away, she says, "Did I do that?"
Which, wow.
Not in the voice of Steve Urkel, in a serious voice.
I was also thinking that,
of course I'm glad.
Were. Yes, I was.
We both lived through the early 90s.
We did. It's true. Yes, we're elder millennials.
Yes.
Yep.
I prefer Xennial. Well, for me, I'm a couple years older than you. I'm technically an Xennial.
Yes.
Anyway, so Glimmer's super psyched. She throws the stuff in. She smiles. And we have a couple of shots of Glimmer and Shadow Weaver sort of in profile side by side. Very much being shown in relationship, in this working relationship.
Yes.
Glimmer putting out her hand to do a thing, and then Shadow Weaver's hand covering it and guiding it.
Yes.
And a bunch of other stuff that makes us super uncomfortable.
But we see
the job.
And it's showing like the mentorship. It's showing the dark, and it's in shadow. So it's showing the dark mentorship. Like, show that against like when they would show Glimmer and Angela, how like their stuff was always in full light. Like their interactions were in full light. So
but at the same time, like, Glimmer's power is Glimmer's power, and it's not inherently good or evil. It's
but
how
the
she
relationship
chooses to use it. Yeah.
Right, but this is Shadow Weaver.
I mean, of course, we know this relationship is manipulative.
Yeah.
But, I can understand why Glimmer feels that, she can take this knowledge and use it how she chooses, and it doesn't have to be inherently evil.
Sure, no, I agree.
The knowledge itself is not inherently evil.
The knowledge itself is not inherently evil.
So the spell works, and they see the Horde's secret outpost in the Whispering Woods. And Shadow Weaver puts her hands on Glimmer's shoulder and says, "Well done." And we all like crawl back into our turtle shells.
Yeah, we
and
do.
say no.
Oh no.
So now Glimmer has some big shit to work out.
Yep.
Some big ethical dilemma shit.
Yeah, because we now know that, well, Adora's looking in the wrong place. So if we warn her in time, we can send her to the outpost and stop Catra. But if Catra is tracking She-Ra, she'll know we're coming and clear out before we get there.
Right.
So
we still don't know for sure if Catra is tracking She-Ra, but it's a distinct possibility at this point.
Right. So Shadow Weaver, just mentions that Catra will not be expecting an attack. Her attention will be focused on Adora. So,
it would
maybe
be a perfect time to strike.
So, maybe it's just maybe we should use Adora as bait. But, Shadow Weaver clarifies as a distraction.
Yeah, because Glimmer's the one who says, "Are you suggesting that I use Adora as bait?"
As
Gasp.
bait. Gasp. And, Shadow Weaver's, it's a distraction.
Yes.
But the decision is yours alone to make, of course. It's all.
"What will you do, Your Majesty?"
And it's like, now we have Shadow Weaver's other favorite thing to do, which is pit two powerful people against each other.
Yeah, any chance she has. It's her favorite thing. Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
That's how Shadow Weaver do.
Yep, that's how she do.
So this scene ends with a close-up on Glimmer's face, looking totally gutted by this choice she now has to make.
Yep.
Which we're all feeling. And my last bullet here is fucking Puppet Master Shadow Weaver.
She's the worst.
We don't like it.
We don't like it. She's the worst.
She's the worst.
So, meanwhile, back on the mission.
Yes.
So we're back with Adora and Spinnerella and Natasha.
Yep.
Looking for the Horde again.
Yep. They can't find anything. And Adora says that she'll take it from here. Spinnerella says, "No, princesses stick together. We'll find it." And then there's another adorable gayest moment between Spinny and Natasha, where they argue about Natasha's relentless competitiveness and whether or not it's more or less of a turnoff than veggie platters at game night.
See, I have that as a gayest moment, and I love that. But before we go, I did actually want to just backtrack to that line that Spinnerella said, because it's not a throwaway, because it's in direct conversation with the scene before.
Which line?
The "no princesses stick together."
Ah, yes.
Which is in direct conversation with Glimmer's, choice.
Right. That's right. I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. So we have that oof. And then we have this great little no one comes to game night. Well, it's because you're too competitive. Well, it's because you serve veggies. And it's and also the veggie platter at game night, all gayest moment, because they're serving his crudité and hummus. And you're okay. Because it's vegan friendly. And
it's a good veggie platter as long as there's good dips being served with it.
Sure.
If
but
your dip is bad, the veggie platter is not going to fly.
It has to be the good hummus, not the weird 80s hummus that was low fat and kind of weird and chunky. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're
it has to be a good. I mean, there are good hummuses and there are bad hummuses, and there's all other kinds of dip too.
Sure, but
so many
I'm
dips
imagining
to choose from.
I am imagining I have a very specific the bad hummus and the kind of the crappy
and the really crappy 99-cent ranch dip.
Yeah.
It just tastes like chemicals.
Right. And it's are those veggie platters or the really good ones, So I don't know. I don't think Spinnerella would serve up a cruddy.
I think Spinny would put out a good veggie platter.
I think so too.
With some good roasted garlic dips and baba
ganoush.
Something you could really sink your teeth into.
So really sink your teeth into.
But
I agree.
Love Adora's reaction when they try to put her in the middle, be well, no one comes to game night because you're too competitive, right, Adora? And no one wants to eat your veggie platters, right, Adora? And she's she's not gonna get in the middle of this.
It's I'm not coming to a game. I didn't even know there was game night.
That's
I'm
a big
too
part of the
busy.
gayest moment is Adora not wanting to get in the middle.
Right, because that's another thing that's happening at this like imaginary queer, like everybody sitting around and watching this episode is like the lesbian couple in the corner that brought the veggie platter arguing about the veggie platter while the drama queen and the mean lesbian are like talking about like in the corner, and then there's like the person that's sitting in between both groups being like, I'm just trying to watch the show. Look how gay everything is. I pass the popcorn.
I don't know anything about anything.
Yeah. So
yeah. It's so good. Anyway, while they're in the middle of all this adorableness, here comes some more not at all phallic drill bots to break the tension.
Definitely not phallic.
Like so many bots. A lot of bots.
There's a lot of bots. And they're not phallic.
No. Not
definitely
even a
not.
little bit.
Not even a little bit. This is definitely not good. This is not good.
It's not great for our buds.
It's
we're
not great.
Leave them to deal with this shenanery, and we're gonna jump over to the secret horde base. And I think it might be time to bring in our super secret special guest.
Super secret special guest.
It's producer of power, Seth.
Yay! Hi, Seth.
Hey, Seth, welcome.
Hi, I'm very excited to be here.
We're very excited to have you, even though you're always here with us.
We're
Seth
happy
is
to
always
have your voice.
Yeah, so Seth is our super awesome producer who super duper loves this episode. And so, of course, we were like, ooh. Seth was like, hey, can I like hang out and like join and talk about this? And we're like, fuck yeah. So,
Well, it's just such a great episode and such a great like turning point for like the issue that Glimmer is having of not being part of everything, because it is the first of like big divide that happens. So I was like, this is such a good moment.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about the fight and then kind of just like dig into everybody's stuff?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Because I love this fight. This is probably like one of my top 3 fights in the show.
I think I have to agree as well.
This is a great fight. I'm not sure that I have ever thought about ranking the fights, but this is a great fight.
Yeah, 2 of them are Catra fights.
I don't know what my other 2 would be. Definitely the end of season 3, to say the least. The first punch is so good.
Yeah, it's certainly got some of the highest ratio of fist-to-face sparkles.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely does. It definitely does. My other 2, by the way, are the Catra Hordak fight at the end of season 4.
That is a good one.
That's a good one.
And Save the Cat.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Save the Cat, there's no beating that.
Yeah. They're just good fights.
They are. Catra's always in the best fights, I think.
Catra does really get the best fights. So let's talk about the fight, and then let's kind of get into like what it means for both characters. Yeah. So
yep, here we go.
So we get in there, and Catra says, "What are you doing back?" And we're like, "Who?"
Yes, there's some confusion about. Listen, if you have a friend who can appear as anyone, it can cause confusion.
I specifically wrote the line down because I just love that it's like, what are you doing back? And then she shoots at her, and then she's like, oh, it's you. And you kind of have a moment where it's like, Glimmer, you should have kind of caught on to that little detail.
Yeah.
Glimmer is way too focused on kicking ass to pick up on the subtlety of that.
Yeah.
She just says, who else would it be?
Yeah, because it's raw rage. Like Glimmer's coming in full raw rage in this one.
She's a little terrifying because she could literally kill Catra if she really wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's intense, and like I feel like it kind of gets glossed over a little bit because it's a kid show, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Glimmer is a force to be reckoned with, especially right now when she's angry and kind of
absolutely
uncontrolled.
Yeah, she blasts the shit out of that place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she really, I mean, they destroy it together. Like,
yeah, this fight destroys the hideout.
It's so good. It is. It's so good.
And the only reason that Catra is able to continually evade Glimmer is because she's wicked fast.
Yeah.
She's highly maneuverable, like a cat.
I was gonna say, I love when she jumps on her and then she's just like, you even taste like glitter. Like they're still doing the bantering.
Yeah.
I also have that as gayest moment. I'm just saying.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty gay.
So they have, they have this action movie. It's this action movie banter. Did anyone ever teach you to put your toys away? You know, like
otherwise someone might come and break them.
Right. And then we have,
Glimmer is really feeling herself. She is
really feeling herself.
She's like aware that this is her action hero moment.
And Catra's impressed. Catra has that like awesome, like when villains are impressed with like, I didn't know you had it in you. Like I love when villains are impressed with the quote unquote heroes or the good guys when they're like, ooh, I didn't know you had it in you. Let's
like you're a little bit evil.
Yeah, ooh,
I
tasty.
Like it.
Yeah.
Tasty evil.
Yeah. And yeah, this is, and Seth, I don't know if you had something written about this, but I had something about this line, which is like, this is where they're learning that they both have it in them.
Yeah.
That, Catra is not expecting someone to come at her with the force of Catra.
Yeah.
And Adora holds back.
Yeah, she does.
And Glimmer doesn't.
Well, Glimmer doesn't have
Glimmer
that attachment to her.
Exactly. Yeah, Glimmer has no personal attachments to Catra. Catra's always been an enemy.
Right.
So, and Glimmer just doesn't hold back anyway.
And well, she went after Bo, and like that is Glimmer's like weak spot. It's very much like she's kind of her dame in distress type of thing, and now she's like, I have to defend him to a degree. And it's fair. Like fair in the sense of like you shouldn't kill anyone, but I mean it's fair to be angry.
We understand how she feels.
We
understand where she's coming from.
And I love when Glimmer realizes that she could like really do damage, because she says, not scared of some sparkles, are you? Like she specifically is like, I now realize that you are kind of scared and know me and know that I can do damage. And it's a great moment. I do have to kind of hop on that train.
That moment is great too, because we see that Glimmer sees that fear after Glimmer uses the electrified whip trick that Shadow Weaver used.
Yes, I had that too.
So Glimmer also knows how to fight psychologically. And this is also kind of this is like a shadow of Glimmer kind of picking up on some of Shadow Weaver's tools as well. So this is kind of a little nod to, her taking some of Shadow Weaver's mentorship as well. So
and they all three kind of swap moms in a way. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like all three main girls all kind of swap, because Adora goes to Angela, and then Catra kind of goes to Hordak, and then in the sense of like who her parent ends up being, quote unquote, and then Glimmer shifts to Shadow Weaver.
Interesting.
I don't really see Hordak as being part of the parent paradigm.
That's fair.
But I do see it with the others. Hordak was never really anyone's parent. He's just like a useless dude who sits in the wings and, isn't really competent, but just, threatens everybody. And, Catra knows how to manipulate him and, like whatever. He has a certain amount of power, but he was never part of anyone's daily life.
That's true.
I mean, a lot of people could describe their like dads like that, though.
Yeah,
like
that is also true.
That is the way that you kind of described that. I kind of got like almost Emperor card vibes from that too. Like he's not necessarily like a father, but he is like the paternalistic masculine force.
He's like the next one she has to like quote unquote deal with after Shadow Weaver, I guess was kind of what I'm talking about.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that does make sense. And also we do see Hordak as, we do see at the very end of the show, we do have that very brief glimpse when Adora literally exorcises Horde Prime from Hordak. We see that glimpse of him holding the child.
That's true.
And there is that very like holding the child Adora.
Yeah.
So there is that sort of like I said, paternalistic, maybe not necessarily like a father figure, but like kind of a detached paternalistic.
Like the closest they
masculine
have, kind of.
No, you're right.
Yeah, because the show doesn't really emphasize the masculine or the paternal in any meaningful sense, other than it being evil.
Yeah.
Once we get to season 5, we have the literal patriarchy. The religious patriarchy as the big bad, like the biggest bad of them all. But
well, we have King Micah.
And we have
King Micah is like the perfect example of a good dad.
But he's absent.
That is true.
He's absent for most of the series. So
Yeah.
So absent dad.
I'm saying he's a positive
He's a
father
positive
figure.
masculine force, and we also have Bo's dads who are positive masculine forces.
Yes.
but they're not.
But they're not central characters.
They're not central characters,
Yeah.
and they're they're not. So
No, these are all good points.
and I like that.
Yeah.
I want to keep these in my pocket. I like these ideas,
Yeah.
but I do want to get back to this fight because there's a lot going on here, because we have the two of them tend to fight so hard that they don't care if they destroy everything in their path. And this also kind of sets the tone for the rest of the season. And a lot of the series is that these two, certainly to the last episode of the season, where they fight so hard that both of them will literally put everything on the line, including the universe, to destroy the other side.
I mean, I don't think Glimmer ever thought that was what she was doing, and she had a lot of regret about it later. I don't think Glimmer would have ever said, I will put the universe on the line to win. I don't think she ever would have said that.
She does sacrifice her friendships for it, though. Like, she does wholeheartedly be like, I will leave this behind to do this.
She does, but she thinks, because in her heart she believes that she's protecting the universe.
That's true.
I don't think she would deliberately sacrifice people to win. She's willing to sacrifice friendships, but because she thinks she's protecting people, she's keeping people safe.
But that's
not
still
what ends up happening.
You're right.
But that's what she thinks.
No, but you're still talking. You're talking about two sides of the same coin, though.
Right.
They both still
they are two sides of the same coin, but I think that there's
I'm not saying the universe
that.
No, they're both still willing to destroy the things that they know in order to get what they need, what they think is correct, what they think is right. Glimmer is willing to destroy her relationships to make sure that the world is saved. Catra is willing to destroy the known world that she has in order to get what she wants, which is power. I agree.
They
are in this tension.
I just think that there's a meaningful distinction between being flip sides of the same coin versus like these things are the same.
No, that's fair. Glimmer's not as malice.
Glimmer being willing to sacrifice her relationships to save the world versus Catra being willing to sacrifice lives, to sacrifice the universe just so she can win. I don't think those two things are comparable. Catra doesn't care about people's lives or safety at all. She just wants the power. She wants to win. She wants to be right because she's never, whatever. I'm not saying that she doesn't have reasons to feel how she feels. I'm just saying I don't think it's fair to say that Glimmer's motivations are the same.
I don't think the same, but I think they do try to, I think you're right. Glimmer is more honorable in her route to it because she is trying to save the world. But it's kind of the thing of like, her and Catra always felt like second string. Glimmer kind of because she was the daughter of the queen, and then Catra in Adora's quote-unquote shadow. So it's kind of like they're both trying to prove to themselves, and through that they lose kind of what's most important to them. And I think that is like the guts of that.
Yes, that's really well put. Yeah, and I do think, like we've been saying since the beginning of this season, there is a lot of mirroring between Catra and Glimmer this season.
Yes.
And I think what you're saying is a huge part of that, the mirroring and the flip sides. And I think that it's important to see them as flip sides and not like, oh, it's the same. There's a difference between being mirror images and being the same.
I'm really interested to kind of continue this conversation because I agree that it is mirroring, it is flip sides. It's not nothing, it's not the same. But I do want to kind of continue to have this conversation in terms of ideas of sacrifice when we get to it, specifically in terms and doing harm when we get to kind of the later episodes when we, align and balance the planet type of stuff. Because I don't remember, and I'd love to rewatch it, what the actual alignment and balancing the planet does to the actual princesses with their connection with the gemstones. And it's how does it physically harm them? Do they, I just don't remember. How does it, Like, what does it do to them physically? Is there any sort of like consent given by them? Like, what, like there's a whole bunch of like questionable stuff that Glimmer does there that is just as questionable and violent. So,
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
We'll get there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
You have put that
jumping
nugget
real
down
far
as
in the
something.
hole.
You've put that nugget down as something that we are going to look at down the road. But let's
absolutely.
not get into it right now.
Yeah. I want to put a pin in that and I want to check it out down the road. But I do want to like, this is fucking like, this is super fucking cool. This whole fight is really awesome. Seth, what do you have anything else you want to like, drop in about this?
Two things. I have Glimmer is lightweight terrifying, but I already said that. But also, I have like this theory about a lot of things, but I think Shira showcases it really well. That like the leader of the group of adventurers can't be the most powerful. And I think this is a good episode that kind of shows that Glimmer is a planner and has that like leader ability. They mentioned like the new D&D movie that just came out where he's like, what do you do? He's like, I make the plan. And I think this is a really good showcase of like Glimmer can do that, but she also needs a team to back her up. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like you kind of need the in terms of the leader, you mean like the person,
like the planner, I guess, like the one that
like the strategizer.
Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
So do you mean Glimmer or Adora?
I think Glimmer is the leader, and that's why because like she's the queen. So I think she is the leader, and then Adora is the strongest warrior because she is Shira.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
The fact that Catra did get away in this fight, I think speaks to that thing of like she is a strategist and she could make the plan, which there's moral flaws in this plan, but it was a good plan in theory. And I think this like showcases that she needed just more than herself, and that is also a lesson that is going to be like kind of pounded in throughout this season.
Yes, the idea that Glimmer does need more than herself. Yeah, and that is like also kind of like that's the whole thing of the series too, right? It's like
they all need more than themselves.
They all need more than themselves. And that's kind of like the lesson of D&D too, right? Is that you all need more than yourselves. That you need a bard in your team, guys. It's okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Sorry. I have a lot of feelings about being a bard. It's cool. We're not useless.
Absolutely not.
We're not useless.
Who's going to know what happened if there's no bard?
Exactly. You toss a coin to your witcher. I am really. I feel like we did this justice. What about you?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we dug in. Seth, thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, producer of power.
Producer of power, Seth is going to be joining us more. So tune in, and yeah, we're gonna have more producer of power Seth joining us more for some really more tasty digging in stuff. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So Jenny, they just destroyed this whole goddamn place.
Yeah.
They just took it down.
Yep. Much like when Catra and Hordak fight, they have no qualms about destroying rooms that they are currently in.
No, they just took it down.
Yeah, also, I would definitely say if you're ever in a huge fight and you see a giant red button that's like all by itself on a control panel with no other buttons near it, don't hit that button. It's probably not going to be a good idea. Yeah, I'd say that. If I was any sort of engineer, which I'm not, I would make that button like green. Or I would put like a lock on it.
Yeah.
You have to have like the situation where there's like two keys that have to be engaged to open the lock.
Oh yeah.
And they have to be far enough apart that two separate people
you have to turn them at the same time.
Do it at the same time. So you have to have two people agreeing that this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
but
Catra hits the button.
Yep.
And those giant Hershey kisses that you sometimes get like on Christmas or whatever? It's
totally
like,
do.
In a box. So I got one of those when I was like 3, and it seemed like it was the size of a planet. So that's what this bot is. It's like the giant Hershey kiss of bots. It's like biggest fucking bot that ever botted.
It is giant fucking bot.
So that's, pretty much the end.
Yep.
And it drills through a catwalk. There's not even solid ground underneath it. This was not a great plan for Catra. She's
Not a great
standing
plan.
on the catwalk, bot drills through it. The whole place is coming down.
But it is super fucking cool, though.
It is super fucking cool.
I mean, all of this is super fucking cool.
Yeah,
they
this
break
is some
they
big
break all of
action
the
hero
shit.
stuff.
Yeah, this is great.
So, Glimmer's like, oh, you're going to bring the whole place down. Catra says, don't worry, I'm not planning to stick around. She's so confident and cocky. She leaps towards the exit. But she should not have been that glib because some heavy shit falls on her.
Luckily, she's okay.
She's okay, but she's trapped.
She's trapped.
It turns out that Glimmer does not have to choose between getting Catra or getting the bot.
Yep. But, luckily our shapeshifter comes in just in time.
Yes.
Who knows how to get out of jam.
Yes. So Catra is saved and Glimmer pulls a truly boss level move that I personally am very impressed by. She teleports the whole damn bot out and up into the sky. So when it explodes, it is not near anything because it is way up in the sky.
Yeah, it's a boss move.
And she gets herself out of the way again before, the shockwave hits. So she saves herself as well.
It's a boss move. And it's she doesn't even need to have strength.
She just needs to have really good timing, stamina,
right, because she doesn't have to
surroundings.
lift it. Yeah, she doesn't have to lift it.
I mean,
she just has to
know how much strength it takes her to teleport other objects besides herself.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Is it like when Adora just lifts up wagons, or is she just touching it and it goes poof poof poof
I mean, I would assume that the larger the object, the more power it takes her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's impossible for us to know how her bamfing power translates into senses that we can wrap our minds around. But I assume it takes some type of strength.
That's true. And also, she's got supercharged moon mom magic, so.
Yeah, and she's pissed. So that probably adds the
she's
adrenaline.
Pissed.
The adrenaline adds to the strength.
Yeah, and she's pissed. So this is super fucking cool.
Yeah, so I wrote,
good job.
Great job, Glimmer, have a cookie.
Aw, Glimmer does deserve a cookie.
She has earned a big fucking cookie.
She's earned a big fucking cookie. Absolutely.
We're also relieved that Catra is alive.
We are relieved that Catra is alive.
But that outpost is done.
That outpost is toast.
Everybody walks away. Very luckily, no more outpost.
Yep. And until we get to I Love in the 5th season when we use it again. And we're like, we know a place. And then we have Glimmer and Catra kind of look at each other like, oh, yeah, we've been here before. Yes,
indeed.
I loved that shared look between the two of them.
About that.
I was like, oh, yeah,
that's
we've been
juicy.
here. Oops. So
now we get to flip back one more time back to our other buddies who are battling some other bots.
Yeah, they're pretty wiped.
She-Ra, Spinnerella, and Natasa. They're still, especially Natasa, because she is still sheltering them under her net from the super bots.
Yeah, and that's exhausting.
Yeah, and I actually noticed on my final watch, as Natasa she has her arms extended so we can see that it's costing her, again, some type of strength to hold this net in place. Spinnerella is actually holding up one of Natasa's arms to help her.
Oh.
I just noticed that on my final watch.
Wives!
Good wives.
I love them.
So as they are reaching the end of their rope of, what the fuck else, they have no more moves.
I love them.
What are they going to do?
I don't know. Oh, hey, Glimmer.
Here comes Glimmer. And she is so psyched to be able to just poof in here at this crucial moment with the perfect line and a catchy wink. Be like, thought you could use some help. Just it's no big deal.
Oi.
She's so happy right now. She is just riding on this wave of adrenaline. She absolutely destroys all the bots super easily, like it's nothing. And She-Ra, Spinnerella, and Natasa all just watch her with huge eyes. Whoa.
Yeah.
I think She-Ra even says, whoa.
Yeah, she's kicking major ass.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it seems like everything is all good. It's all done. But wait, there's one more. And Spinnerella does her own cool hero move. She blows her buddies back in one direction away from the bots. And then she blows the bot the other direction over the cliff.
Yep.
Total boss move, but
Boom.
it also hits her with the blowback as it goes down. So we don't know how hurt is she. Natasha, of course, freaks out and is so worried. She rushes over to her fallen wife's side, takes her hand as she's lying unconscious on the ground. Oh my God, speak to me, baby, etc., etc. She's totally freaked out. And Spinnerella calmly opens her eyes and says, 14.
14.
Yes. As in, 14 bots for me. I win.
Love it. Love it.
We love it.
We love it. We love them.
Yeah. And so Natasha, for like 1 second, has this totally priceless look like, motherfucker. But then she lets it go in like less than a second.
I know.
And she kisses her and she says, that's my girl.
I love them. Lesbian aunties.
Lesbian auntie
I love
goals.
you. I love you, lesbian aunties.
Yes.
You're the best.
They have the greatest relationship.
They have a great relationship. I love them. I love them.
We all do. And then Glimmer poofs in next to Shira, looking very pleased with herself. And she says,
very pleased with
should I
herself.
start counting too? Because pauses to stride the last bot without even turning to look at it. I just got the rest.
Good job, Glimmer.
Yeah,
but
it's a combination of like super cool, but also kind of scary that your friend suddenly is so much more powerful.
Yeah. And this last scene is like heartbreaking.
Yeah, we go back to Bright Moon, and Glimmer is, understandably just riding her adrenaline high still. She's giving Bo an abridged play-by-play of all of her awesome bot-destroying badassery.
Yeah, and Bo Bo puts it like, Bo wraps it pretty nice. That sounds really cool, but also really awful.
Yeah. So first he says it sounds really cool, and then he looks over at Adora, who is looking so disapproving, and then he says, and then he amends it to be like, oh, it's really cool. Looks at disapproving face, but also really awful.
Because it was really awful.
Yeah, it is both of those things. And Glimmer can't hear that right now. She just wants to enjoy feeling happy about this victory. She's finally feeling like she has her groove back. And, she's feeling like she's doing what she wants to do, which is, being by her friend's side and helping fight the fight. And she just wants to feel good about it.
Yeah.
And Adora is not on the same page.
No. Well, I mean, can you blame her?
No, it's all understandable. They are not in the same place right now.
I mean, yeah, because Adora's like, yeah, well...
She's still really concerned. Well, first of all, she's concerned with figuring out how the Horde is tracking her, which they've all just assumed is true.
Right. And also, Adora's like, you used me as a decoy.
Yeah.
And that, without saying, hey, I'm going to use you as a decoy.
Well, and again, it's not like it was planned in advance. It was, a heat of the moment decision.
Sure, but also, that's fucked up, dude. It
is. It doesn't seem like that she's hugely upset about it.
But it's
in the mix.
It's a drop in the bucket, but you have to keep things keep dropping in the bucket. You know what I mean?
Mix.
Yeah. It's in the mix.
And Glimmer doesn't really apologize.
No, she doesn't. She's like, it worked.
Yeah. It worked, so it was the right thing to do.
Right. And I'm going to be a proactive queen.
Yeah, and she really wants them to understand why she made these decisions and what her reasoning was.
Right. And her decision, her reasoning is great, and then she mentions that Shadow Weaver is teaching her magic.
Yep.
And
she says her line. Can I say her line? Because I feel like it sort of sums up her whole journey through this episode.
Yes.
And she takes Bo's hand as she delivers this line. She says, I'm not going to stay behind anymore. That's not the kind of queen I am. I want to be out there fighting to protect my kingdom side by side with my best friends. So far, all great.
Sure.
And now that Shadow Weaver's teaching me magic, I'll be twice as effective.
And do you really think people aren't going to have a problem with that?
Yeah, and so she just sort of says that last part as a little sidebar throwaway.
Yeah.
And so obviously Adora is not cool with this at all.
No.
And even Bo is like, Glimmer, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But Glimmer kind of just pretends not to hear them. Because she just doesn't want to hear it.
It's some deal with the devil shit, right?
Yeah. But, Glimmer's in a happy place. She's happy. She's feeling powerful. And she would rather just pretend that she's not hearing it and go raid the kitchen for celebration cake.
Yep, bring him some cake.
Like the old days. Which is unsaid, but inferred.
Yeah, also, I want cake now.
Who doesn't
I know
want
that's
cake?
not what my takeaway should be here,
but who doesn't want cake? Especially if it's from the Bright Moon Kitchens. I'm sure it's extra sparkly and delicious.
Right, their cakes always look so fucking good, too. There's like a place down the street from me that makes these really incredible cakes that I'm not a sweets person, but now I really want to go get cake.
I am absolutely a sweets person, and I am lucky that there is not a delicious cake bakery down the street from me, because if there was, it would be difficult.
It would be over. Yeah. I mean, they're not open on Tuesdays. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, no, get some cake now. But anyway,
but
that's
we
not
all
good.
Understand the desire for happiness and cake.
Sure. We definitely do.
But so my last bullet on this scene is, hey, Glimmer, you can't just force conversations to end because you leave the room, buddy.
Yeah.
But right now, she's been struggling for quite a while. Her mom died. She took on all these huge responsibilities. She was struggling with, how to navigate it. And she finally feels like she made a decision that she feels good about, and she doesn't want to nitpick it. She just wants to feel good about it.
Right.
And so I'm not saying I agree with all decisions that she's made, but I understand how she's feeling right now.
Same.
I do think she should have apologized to Adora, though, for using her as bait.
Yeah, that was not cool.
Not cool.
That was not a great choice. You don't say, well, it worked. When your friend is like, hey, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah. So this is the beginning of some cracks.
This is the rift.
The rift
is happening. The rift is happening.
Yes. But
they're going to have to.
Yeah.
No, I was going to make a Buffy joke. It's fine.
No, make a Buffy, please. I want to hear it now.
I was like, they're going to have to pull some tarot cards and make a super Buffy. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. So.
We do have one final scene back in the Fright Zone.
Little tag in the Fright Zone.
Double Trouble and Catra return on a skiff.
I also love this too, because this is okay, mean lesbian is taking drama queen home on her motorcycle because drama queen was like, girl, can I get a ride home? And mean lesbian's
you saved my ass, of course.
It's like, yeah, you saved my ass, fine, the queue's not running, can I get a ride home? So so she gives them a ride home. And
Double Trouble calls Catra kitten again, which we love. Asks what she's going to tell Hordak about all those destroyed bots. Catra always knows how to spin it. Yep. She says, I'm going to say you're welcome for testing them before we moved ahead with our big plan. Obviously, they were garbage.
And then we have
very smart.
Yeah. And then we have a little bit of vulnerability.
Yes. We have a very un-Catra-like moment.
I know. And Catra's like, hey, I have a friend.
Yeah, actually thanking Double Trouble for saving her and saying, I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't showed up.
And we have this little moment kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
I know. I think it's meant to.
Well, I know that. It worked, Jenny.
Yes, it did. It worked on me as well.
Cinema works.
Yes. Well done, writers.
Well done, writers.
So Catra decides, for whatever reason, to be vulnerable with Double Trouble right now and admit, that she would have been fucked without them. And Double Trouble says, well, I live to serve. For a price, of course, reminding Catra that this is a financial relationship.
Yep. And it's just like...
And Catra looks sad again and remembers oh yeah, I'm paying you.
Oh, right. I'm paying you to be, you're not my friend. You're my contractor, right?
Yeah,
you're my employee.
Yeah. So she reaches into some random place and pulls out the traditional bag o' coin.
Yep. The Fantasyland bag o' coin, which the only time we ever see money exchanged on this show is with Double Trouble.
That's true.
So
That's true. But so, and I do have a note here, and I understand where everyone is on their journey. I'm trying to be fairly neutral in terms of judgment, but I wrote, you reap what you sow, Bubba, in terms of Catra feeling sad that she has no friends. Like, people have tried to be your friend, Catra.
yeah, I mean, she's going through it, but sometimes
Scorpio would have been there to save her in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but
If Scorpio had been allowed to know any of Catra's plans or been part of Catra's plans in any way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
this is a reap what you sow.
Yeah, it is what it is. She is on a journey.
Yep.
So as soon as Double Trouble gets the bag of coin, they are pleased as punch.
Mm-hmm.
And they promise to keep a better eye on Glimmer, who is more powerful than they realized.
Yeah.
And Catra makes a throwaway comment, like, well, if she had used Adora as bait.
Yep. Yeah, and we're like, ooh, yeah, I know.
Which leads both of them to the realization that this friendship is not on totally solid ground.
Yes. Huh. Yes. And they're like, ooh, looks like the friendship might have a few cracks, huh? Might be, wouldn't be a shame if someone there to take advantage of them. It would be a shame, wouldn't it, Jenny?
Yes. And the final shot, which is so delicious, is this line of Catra saying those words over Double Trouble's best be gay, do crime, evil grin.
Love it. Love it. It's a shame.
Yes. So all does not bode well.
Ooh, what a tasty episode.
Yeah, so we've got some juicy stuff coming up real soon. There's a bunch of very, very fun, juicy episodes coming up now.
Mm-hmm. Yum, yum, yum. I'm excited. Oh,
I am excited too. I can't wait to dig into this shit.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking sick.
This is a juicy, juicy season.
It is a juicy, juicy season. It is like the most like emotional crux. It is cruxy. It is Cruxington.
Indeed.
I just made that up. I don't know why I used that.
I like it.
Cruxington. Yes. But Jenny, I really want to know, what did we learn today?
Oh, man. Well, geez. We learned some hard stuff today.
We did. We learned a lot of hard stuff.
We learned that sometimes friendships that have been really solid for a long time are not guaranteed to always be solid forever. Sometimes people are going through shit that causes your friendships to suffer, and you have to reevaluate. And, you can't always count on people the same way indefinitely. You have to give people room to go through their own shit.
Damn. That's a hard lesson.
It is a hard lesson. And, if it was easy, then we wouldn't need shows like this to help us navigate it.
To teach us.
To teach us. And we also learned not to trust evil mentors.
Yeah, I feel like
anyone who tries to touch your face while telling you stuff about yourself in a way that that they have more to gain than you do. I don't know. Just be careful, guys. Be careful with mentors in general.
That's an eternal lesson.
Yeah. Be careful who you pick as your mentor. Is a general lesson that we can all definitely benefit from.
I think so as well. Well, folks, if you liked what you heard and you want to bring a veggie platter to game night, you can like and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at HeyAdoraCast, or you can email us your favorite veggie dip recipe at heyadoracast@gmail.com.
Yum. I'm for it.
I'm for it, too. I love a good veggie dip recipe. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Meth.
Other than a veggie dip recipe, what else do we have on our Patreon?
We have fun live watches and live chats with our patrons. We have spaces for people to talk about gay screaming, fan theories, all kinds of fun community conversations, all kinds of fun stuff over in that Patreon.
Yeah, on our Discord, right? And our Facebook page.
Yes.
And yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. We have video hangouts there too. We have live watches.
Yep.
Jenny's gonna have some story hours coming back up soon.
Yes.
We have We have some really cool stuff going on. So if you are interested in hanging out with us and gay screaming with us, you can find the link to our Patreon, as well as a link to this week's Spotify playlist Pulse in our show notes or at heyadora.gay.
All the links to all the things can always be found at heyadora.gay.
We totally have .gay. We're
never going to let you forget it.
We're never going to let you forget it. We're never going to get rid of that
No,
URL.
of course not.
It's .gay. And remember, queer joy is radical.
And queer love saves the universe.
Ow!
Veggie dip.
Veggie dip.
That's gay.
That is gay.